In this video, we're going to discuss the basics of using the filters shelf. Now, I've created a simple visualization here that shows all of our customers by their total sales, and they're ranked accordingly. So Sean Miller is our top customer as far as total sales, and we go all the way down here until we have our smallest customers. Now, often we might want to look at a list of all of our customers, but many times we won't. So perhaps we're interested in the customers in several states. And what we could do is we could just add state to the visualization, and we could look at our different clients by state. But that becomes kind of difficult to work with. So we might think about, well, maybe you just show the customers in the states that we're interested in. And to do that, I'm going to take the pill for state and I'm going to drag it from rows and put it on filters. Now, again, if I hadn't have placed state here, I could have just as easily have taken state and dragged it into filter. Now, all of the relevant values that are in that field, in that dimension, are listed. And we can choose to select them all, which is usually what happens when you bring these pills in. Although with different versions of Tableau, it seems like sometimes they are all selected, sometimes they're all not selected, but just realize when they're checked, they are selected. If there's a really long list and you don't want to just kind of scroll through it and look for things, you can just in the enter search text type new, and you'd get down to all the new whatever states, right? And you can choose to exclude. So you want to include, if you only wanted to show Arizona, you could do it this way by unchecking Arizona and excluding all the ones that are checked. However, I generally highly discourage this because it is much slower. And any of you have database experience, you'll understand that it's much slower because it has to do multiple reads of the data when you do exclude. When you do an include, it just does one. All right. So I generally won't use that. The reason you would use that is that if you don't quite know all of the selections that will be in the field, but you don't want a particular one, you could do it that way. You could exclude just this one that you won't need. And then if new ones emerge over time, just as people add new data, then you'd have everything else, but not the ones that you've excluded. All right. Now there's several different kinds of filters we can do. This is the most general and common way that we'll filter is by checking off values from a list. You can also do a wildcard, which we will again work with more in detail while we're working on some other visualizations. Some conditional things where you can say if sum of sales is greater than X, include it, and then top. So you can actually say, show me the 5 top customers by sales, all right? But in this case, we're going to look at just selecting only the states of California, Texas, and Florida. So to do that, I'm just going to select none, and I'm going to check off California, Florida, and Texas. And I'm only going to see my customers who actually appear in that state. I did something else while I was doing that filter. Let me put this condition in here. Got to get rid of that. And now I've got just my customers who are in those 3 states. Well, it seems like that didn't filter things very much because many of my customers are in those states. But let's compare this to another filter. Maybe let's edit this filter, and instead of choosing those states, let's just choose Wyoming and hit apply. And now we see that we only have one customer in Wyoming, and it's Michelle Arnett. All right. So that's the most common filter where we're going to say, show me just the customers by sales, show me by filters. Now, often you might want to allow your users to apply these filters. And to do that, all you have to do is on your filter, click the drop down and choose show filter. And now your user is going to be able to choose from any of the values that are available. And you can provide that in a number of different formats. So right now we're in a multiple value list. You could do a single value drop down, where they have to pick only one state at a time, or a multiple value drop down, where they can click on this drop down and they can check this off. And this way you can kind of hide all of this filter information, all of these values when people aren't selecting, right? And so this is a pretty simple thing. We've all done filters before in different situations, whether it's Excel or something else. But I do want to show one other kind of filter in action. So I'm going to take this state filter and drag it off. And I'm going to throw the customer name field into filters. And I'm going to choose show the top 10 customers by sum of sales. And so this shows my top 10 customers by sum of sales. And even though it says top, you can also do the bottom 10 by sum of sales. All right. And they look like they have as many sales as the other people. Why? Because the scale went down from $25,000 to $70. All right. Now we'll actually even be looking at ways we can show the top and bottom 10 in different at the same time later on. But I just wanted you to kind of get to know the filters shelf and realize that we're going to be doing a lot more with filtering and even have a whole lesson on the order that filters get applied so you can understand why your visualization is looking the way it's looking when you start using multiple filters. All right, but again, this is just an introduction, and that's it for today.